I think for any establishment who plan to have a slice of the halal market, I think it's a good start.
Assalamualaikum, Chef Kamal. Thanks for joining our program today. It's a pleasure to have you.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Yes, so the reason we wanted to get you on an interview is, we are doing a extensive study on the halal dining preferences, behavior of the Muslims in Singapore. And we wanted to get your views on your thoughts on how the halal food, especially dining and delivery market, has evolved during the last few years.
Okay,
maybe before I do that, maybe if you can briefly introduce some of the work that you have done in the last few years. Chef Kamal, your work in the halal food industry, I know you have been doing quite a bit of work, so if you can just briefly introduce.
Okay, thank you again. I'm happy to share a little bit about my background. Okay, I'm from the hospitality background and UNLV graduate in food and beverage management. Okay, I started as a front line and then I entered the back of the house, cook, becoming a cook, and attached myself to a great chef, a pilot boon, Chef Daniel Koh, a master chef in fusion cuisine. And then I'm now focusing more on consultancy and training. Actively engaging with the industry, guiding them, training them in food safety courses, and also previously managed my own restaurant and I sold the restaurants. I did some consultancy, right, especially for halal certifications and halal conversions, and also advisory on conversion with regards to menu from non-halal to halal. And I had the opportunity to represent Singapore, okay, under the arm of Singapore Food Manufacturing Association, International Enterprise Singapore, and also CrescentRating. So still active, teaching in Changi Prison, okay, guiding the inmates, our brothers, so that when they graduate, they can actually offer a betterment to their livelihood, economies, and also to the industries in the field of hospitality, cooking, baking, coffee making, and services.
And you also released a cookbook some time ago, yeah, right?
Correct. Okay, we are the first to launch the cookbook with regards to halal for the busy executive and also cuisines of the world under the arm or the umbrella of Singapore Halal Culinary Federation. Apparently, I'm the emeritus president right now, still guiding the team.
That's great. I mean, that brings me to the first question that I want to sort of get your thoughts on. I mean, you have seen the halal scene evolve the last few years. Your thoughts on how it has evolved from a cuisine point of view, from a taste point of view. How has it evolved? Over the last few years, the food scene, halal food scene, halal food dining scene in Singapore.
From the beginning until current time, yeah. Okay, I guess we way back before the dynamic or the dynamism of halal certifications, the Muslim community is quite conservative. We felt safe back then to dine at a Muslim-owned or a very few numbers of halal certified outlets. So yes, and then we are exposed to more cuisines. We are well traveled, and then at the same time, Muiz also did a good job to ensure that all these interests from all other parts of the world, bringing in their cuisines, they must be certified and have the necessary halal ingredients. So from then on, the interest grew, and then the taste bud of the Muslim community also grew with the exposure, with the traveling, and also the media has exposed certain cuisines being portrayed. So we are kind of like tickled earlier, and businesses also realized the potential. So from a small infancy kind of interest offerings to now become like internationals, from a standalone cafes to a simple heritage cuisine to all the way to international fine cuisines. So we're quite fortunate that we have a system that that brought us from where we started earlier limited halal choices to right now in abundance, a lot of options.
What cuisine have you seen sort of, I mean, of course, Malay or Malay Indonesian cuisine, I mean, Indian, Chinese cuisine. I think this is more of our culture, Singapore
Simple, yeah,
cultural cuisine,
correct.
yeah. But apart from that, what other international regional cuisine you have seen sort of, grow very fast during the last few years?
Okay, it's a good point. I think the major one is from the areas in Japan, Korea.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of Japanese restaurants right now are well received and they grow very fast. From a simple izakaya, a tapas-like bite-sized Japanese offering, to ramen, their so-called hero signature dish.
Yeah.
So previously, who would have thought that Japanese cuisine could be easily converted to halal or enjoyed by Muslims? And then also at the same time, the Muslim love to travel to Japan, being a very nice, orderly country, cold weather, and very safe. So they yearn to feel the Japanese experience when they travel there. And again, I say it's like working in tandem. The businesses also realize here that since there's a lot of travelers, Muslim travelers into Japan, why don't we bring the Japanese food experience in Singapore to cater to their experience and needs? So I think I would say all in all Japanese cuisines alongside the French, the European cuisines. But the most glaring one is the Japanese and the Korean
Korean
cuisines.
ones, yes, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely, yeah, yeah. That's true. When it comes to
yeah,
European cuisines, I mean, if you look around Singapore, they are not as popular as the Asian cuisines like Vietnamese, Thai,
yes, correct.
Japanese, Korean. These are very popular. You have a lot of halal
Mm,
offerings. But when it
yes.
comes to European cuisine, there are not many. What's the issue here? Is it because of the taste palette, or is it because of the ingredients, or why do we not have more, I would say, Spanish or more French
For
cuisine?
I think for French cuisine, let's take French cuisines because they're so avant-garde, and we here used to like common staple comfort feeling whereby the plate must be full, you pay that sum of money, you must give the kind of value to eat, like wholesomeness, everything is there on the plate. Whereby for French, no disrespect to them, the way they appreciate is not in big size, not in big portions. So in just nice bite size, but in course settings, meaning there is starter, appetizer, soup, main course, entree, and also dessert. That's how they enjoy. And to experience such dining, it comes with a price. So I guess yes, there are some who are willing to enjoy such refined settings and all that, but not many, not in kind of mass, are willing to fork out that kind of money to have this kind of experience. But slowly but surely, the introduction of this kind of mix between East and West has definitely guide them, create a pathway to enjoy the real French cuisine, somewhat something like classical France, French, countries and all that. At the same time, also the ingredients, Mr. Fazal. I think the ingredients where they use a lot of wine to deglaze for reduction to give the kind of acidity and body to the dish. This is somewhere where we have yet to appreciate fully. And for the chef, okay, they don't come cheap, by the way. So it's about affordability to manage one unit, one outlet, one entity where you have to call authentic French chef. It
Right,
comes with a price, and the ingredients also are not easy to come by, like
right,
escargot, the kind of snail. So it's gray. It's between whether snail is considered halal or macro and all that. So there are some ingredients which can be the stumbling block, including the cost of managing one lah.
right, right. When it comes to ingredients, when
Yes.
it comes to European food, a substitute wine and things like that, is this really difficult, or is it's a matter of knowing where to find them?
It's a mix of both actually. If it's also exclusive and they're able to import from their native and it is deemed to be halal, so it won't be an issue. Again, could be price lah that usually stop them from importing directly from their mainland. But then again, if you substitute, it may actually break away from the core or the true to taste kind of tradition. I give you an example. Like we are familiar with the tiramisu cake, so they do use coffee liqueur, alcohol, and it's difficult for the true to taste, Italian to try and then knowing that it's substitute without alcohol or something like that. But for us, we can appreciate closest. For us, is good enough already lah. Which we can really appreciate it. That's how they enjoy. We can enjoy. But I guess this because of protecting the authenticity of the dish. Some may find it is doing injustice to substitute one to one, whereby it's not the true thing lah. So I guess that is one thing.
We also have seen now in Singapore fusion food. I mean,
yes.
Although you might not see French, but you can go to a restaurant where probably they're offering Italian, some fusion, French, things like that. How do you see that type of cuisine growth in Singapore?
Okay, being an operator myself before, previously. So I guess at the end of the day, when we start up a dining experience, a restaurant or cafe or food kiosk, we all agree the bottom line now is dollars and cents.
Yeah.
So we do whatever it takes to recover all the investment. So that explains why you see, you notice some restaurants, they have a mix of offerings between many European nations. You have the goulash from the Hungary, and then you have the French food, pastry, bread, and also Italian staples like pastas and pizzas. A classic example would be Deli France. I think you are familiar; it's a household name.
Yeah.
They also serve pasta. So knowing that pasta actually originated from Italy. So again, they go with the flow at the same time. Whatever works previously should be the mainstay, and that should also appeal to us diners because we have an option within that one sitting when we gather to eat. So we have offerings. Some who prefer fish and chip, they can go for fish and chip, which is traditionally British cuisine or English cuisine, and some who prefer pasta, and I prefer my onion soup. So it's a wonderful opportunity to hold everyone together. So I guess you can name your restaurant, whether it's Italian or so, but if you have such offerings, just one or two within your menu, it definitely it won't be something that's gonna backfire.
I mean, just being on that, I think as you have been an operator as well, if a restaurant, let's say, wants to convert to halal, what should they think of? What will be their challenges? Where should they start?
I see.
Yeah.
I think for any establishment who plan to have a slice of the halal market, I think it's a good start. So if they have no headways, they have no lead up of how to go about, I think it's best to engage a consultant. Okay, they can go direct to Waris, which is part of MUIS, or if they know anyone from the industry, they should consult us, because for beginners or for newbies into the halal, it can be shocking for them with the kind of requirements just to fulfill a single certification. The timeline is not very soon, meaning to say not quick for them to apply to convert. So if they are able to exercise discipline, patience, and understand the whole process, the rewards will be there. But if they are unable to, then probably it's best to engage a consultant. So for us, industry players, we had the opportunity, myself personally, to be able to be the bridging person or body to assist these new conversions to halal, so that they can actually understand better whether they are ready, they have the necessary economical strength, and also they can sustain. So I guess after getting the certificate, Mr. Fazal, the glaring issue here is to sustain that certificate. Okay. So are they able to maintain, because they have to fulfill the minimum Muslim staff requirement, ensuring that the menu does not change in between the next renewal. Because if they do and they did not submit or update, then they are liable for the necessary warning or suspensions or penalty.
So in terms of converting to halal, what's the biggest challenge? Is it the ingredients? Is it the having the Muslim staff? Um, what's the biggest sort of challenge that these entities face?
Okay, if let's say a typical Western dish, like steak, pizza, pasta, fish and chip, ingredients will not be the top in the list. I think for them, for this kind of setup, usually is employing and maintaining the required numbers of Muslim staff.
Oh, yeah.
So this will be number one. And number two is, of course, the timeline. If
Right.
let's say it's already a seasoned operators, just gathering some of the experience I have, seasoned operators, they already operated for like a year or two, and they decided to go halal. And once they realize they have to wait almost like 2 months, so it really kind of like put them in the dilemma whereby I know there's a market, I need it soon, but we have to follow procedures and protocol. So that's where when they have to rush the documentations and all that, they are unable to meet, and then they grow frustrated towards the approach. With regards to the earlier mentioning of the employing and maintaining the required numbers of Muslim staff, some of the cases shared was this: they are unable to employ in time to meet the necessary requirement, and or they are able to sustain the count of Muslim staff because they have a minimum headcount already in place, and to add one, so they may want to offer these Muslim staff something like flexi hours or just part-time base. And when the part-time Muslim staff are being employed, they had opportunity to grow and be better at some other establishments. When that's where they jump ship or they quit, and that's where the numbers just reduce to low or no Muslim staff, which could lead them to being penalized or suspended lah, in terms of the halal certification.
See sometimes this a very popular thing, no pork, no lard in Singapore and also sometimes in Malaysia. Your thoughts on that that kind of branding?
Yeah, it is always enticing when you know the food is not offered in any halal establishment, but the sign that stated no pork, no lard, no lard. Is not to put that on a bad light. If by putting no pork, no lard, which they truly understand, Muslims don't take lard, don't take any pork derivative, but there are some other ingredients which have a hidden, what do you call this, annotation towards that derivative. It could be in the form of alcohol, or if European coding name, which they themselves do not know whether it's pork derived. So these are the dangers, which is not to say to blame them directly or wholly, but it's to the consumer. So we have to be an educated and informed with regards to certain ingredients. Or if let's say the vegetarian shop really sells only vegetarian food, for sure they themselves practice vegetarian or vegan. They don't take any animal byproduct. But there could be a likelihood of alcohol-laden ingredients or infused in their cuisines, because alcohol, derived from grape. Grape is plant-based, so so this is where a lot of people got confused. It's vegetarian what? So I guess yes, it's best for us to avoid or guide them. Okay, but yes, we should be informed enough not to patronize. By doing so, it's discouraging them from learning the true aspect of being halal, and also to really apply for real halal certification.
Slightly on a different subject, how have you seen the hawker scene evolve, especially from a halal point of view? Do you think there is more options in the hawker centers now of halal? Sometimes you find Japanese as well in the hawker centers now, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. How is it? And of course, now we have, Singapore has been granted the UNESCO status for the hawker culture. So, yeah.
Okay. I think we must applaud the government initiative. It took them years to really, working the ground to ensure that our hawker culture is still alive and kicking and growing. As we speak right now, there's already a program at a diploma level for hawkerpreneurship. I'm not sure whether you heard before.
Yeah.
To encourage this academic pathway students before they graduate, they can choose for 1 year to go get onto the hawker interest and see whether they can use that as a way of earning income or livelihood. Back 2 to 3 years back, we had this Michelin, I think 4 years back, yeah, if I'm not wrong, Michelin star awarded to a chicken rice operator at a hawker center. So this goes to show that we becoming more affluent. We enjoy, we are well traveled, we appreciate air-conditioned dining experience, shopping malls and all that. But we should not neglect our true to the core heritage, which is a hawker. They have migrated from street food to hawker, a proper place for them to cater to our heartlanders with an affordable pricing. So I think we should still appreciate them and continue to patronize them. With regards to halal, I think most of the Muslim operators, they don't feel obligated to apply halal. This is not mandatory. But to those like what you mentioned, Mr. Fazal, the Japanese food stall, they converted to halal. It's welcoming to see that, how we wish we can see more, but we can understand from their viewpoints that hawker is, of course, if they have a choice to open cafe, they will love to. It's because of the limitations, okay, in terms of financial capacity, and to apply halal for the humble stall, it may eat into their pocket. So I guess that's the reason why they decided not to, or maybe when they grow bigger and better, they can plan to convert to halal. But then again, it's still welcoming if they decided to, then we can actually enjoy, like I mentioned earlier, what do you call this, patronizing a hawker center with so many options from Malay, Indian, Chinese, Western, Japanese. If they are all halal, lagi best lah. But having said that, there are actually operators who are smart and creative now. What they did was they acquired a unit and they conceptualized a typical air-conditioned unit a la hawker concept.
Right.
So it brings us back to the hawker feel, but at an additional comfort level.
How has the Malay food evolved during the last few years? Has Nasi Lemak stayed Nasi Lemak for the last 10 years, or has it evolved? Or
interesting point. I think yes. If you take Nasi Lemak, it's well appreciated now, not only by the Malays, okay, but all walks. So we are happy that it's appreciated by the mainstream. At the same time, now people tend to get bored with the traditional Nasi Lemak. That now they offer sides like otak-otak, fish cake, fried chicken wing, and whatnot. And then the worst part, Mr. Fazal, they took out the humble fried groundnut and ikan bilis.
Which is what Nasi Lemak is all about, right?
Yeah, so the Nasi Lemak is like, now I experience myself the order, Nasi Lemak chicken, yes. Then there is no ikan bilis, there is no fried anchovies, and the eggs, of course, eggs mandatory, and some don't even add cucumbers.
True.
So that puzzled me, because if you want to stay true, you can allow us to exercise option by self-service the other side, so you don't waste food, you can control. At the same time, you must also reflect that if someone were to be introduced to this dish, which is so unique to the Malay communities, and if they are foreigners, they're travelers, and they think that Nasi Lemak is this, you know what I'm saying?
True.
So it's not really as how it's supposed to be portrayed through our heritage. And also because of the, what I like to bring is that Nasi Lemak has been labeled as one of the healthiest breakfasts. But until we introduce all the deep fried stuff, so it's no more healthy already.
So let me ask you a question then. Where is the best place to have the best Nasi Lemak for breakfast?
This is a trick question. Okay.
Well, some places.
Or to take away?
Both are okay.
Both okay. So you'll be surprised with my answers, but I'm open. I'm not saying they are the best, but personal choice.
Yeah.
Okay, but I enjoyed Nasi Lemak just near my place at Taman Jurong Shopping Center. There are 4 makciks behind the counter dishing out traditional heritage breakfast like mee rebus, lontong, mee siam, Nasi Lemak. So yes, it's fantastic. The queue is always long, and they stay true. They serve all the necessary Nasi Lemak ideals, including other sides we want to add. For takeaway, there's Liwi Brothers, there's Crave also. And yes, one thing I like about Crave is because they use basmati rice.
Okay.
So basmati rice have low GI, so you can eat without guilt, and it does help to bring down the calories also lah. So that is a great introduction to a heritage cuisine. Besides using what you call this industry-based equipment to make it more productive, you also apply something healthier. This is something forthcoming and welcoming.
Is delivery going to have an impact on the food quality?
Of course, a little bit. If you experience at the stall or at the cafe or the food shop itself, it would be better because it's a short distance traveling. The food is still warm or hot that you can appreciate. Delivery has has helped us to ease all this time wasting and also queuing and traveling. Yes, it deteriorated a little bit, but not so. Why I say this because as you notice, right, all these delivery guys, they actually have the use of a thermal box or container to maintain the heat of the food. Being a food safety course trainer myself, it is important that the food is delivered fast within that short time frame to ensure there's no contact multiplication of bacteria. At the same time, cooked food is the best to order for takeaways or delivery because it goes through heating, eliminating of bacteria because of the high heat. So you are safe to keep it within half an hour to 40 minutes and consume lah. So a little bit drop in terms of the experience and the heat, but all in all, it's still good. It's a good thing that they have this service lah. No problem.
Thanks, Chef Kamal. Your thoughts on how the food scene, especially
halal food scene, changed.
Do you see more cuisine coming into the picture, more type of cuisine, or changes of taste buds?
I think we hope to see more cuisines. That also the driving force to introduce more cuisines is because we are well exposed. The halal consumers here in Singapore are well exposed. They can actually plan a schedule or a cycle. Today having French, tomorrow having Italian, the next day after having Vietnamese and all that. So once they are exposed to Eastern European or true Middle Eastern cuisines and it's affordable, I think they will still go for it. Like example, certain outlets which are right now being sought after a brand, let's say a brand yet to convert to halal, so they'll be waiting for that brand to turn halal. So I guess that is where if the brand number one offering a new cuisine, then good for them, bonus for both the consumers and the operators. If let's say the brand is offering something similar in the market and they promise it to be better than whatever there is in the market, they could also enjoy the bonus lah. So yes, it won't change much. There will be new instructions, I believe. If you were to be a holding company of few brands, you definitely want to introduce rather than just Japanese and Korean. Maybe you want to venture into Thai or even North Indian cuisines. So other than that, I would say people are right now going into a little bit exotic. What I mean exotic is not just game food like ostrich, like wild animals. So because we are governed and regulated by Singapore food agencies, there's no such opportunities. Exotic a little bit meaning to say to go all vegan, just because they are driven by the ecological, environmental, and wellness impact on the community and society. So they like to control what they consume. So they'll be looking up towards low sodium, low calories, less oil, and then the vegan, no meat substitution, something you're familiar. We have the Impossible Burger where people eat without guilt, but the taste is just like minced meat, real meat. And now we have this Omni meat to substitute chickens and all that. So these are the modern approach, and hopefully it will take on very well because with the promise of low sodium and all that, and the mouthfeel of real meat, I think it's very good lah. The only thing right now people are trying to be assured and waiting for is the cultured meat. If it's really going mainstream, how we as a Muslim consumers going to approach. So waiting for a confirmation or a fatwa on that lah.
Halalness of cultured meat,
yeah, cultured meat.
Thank you, Chef Kamal. Thanks for your
My
thoughts. It
pleasure,
was
my
very,
pleasure, brother.
very useful, and we hope that we will have more discussions on the food scene later with you. Thank you very much.
Pleasure, my pleasure. Inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you again. Welcome, warahmatullah.